Hi, I'm Larry Butler for the East Hawaii Cultural Center. Tonight on our lecture series, we are honored to have Kealoha Pisciotta. She is the president of Mauna Kea Anaina and the co-founder of Kanaloa, the spokesperson for Kai Palaoa and for Kanaloa, the Marine Ocean Protection Group. We're delighted to have you here. Thank you so much. She's going to be speaking in conjunction with our current events show of ocean debris at the East Hawaii Cultural Center Gallery. And I leave you to you.
Aloha, I'm Kealoha Pisciotta, and I'm really honored to be here and a part of this East Hawaii Cultural Center art exhibit, talking about our oceans and some of the problems that are challenging. You know, art plays an important role. It isn't just an artistic expression, but it becomes a part of our social and justice, and gives voice to things and those who don't have a voice. And we're here to talk about Kanaloa today, but I wanted to also show you to come back down here and see Dr. Chris Jordan's film, Albatross. Come and join us at the gallery. And hope to see you soon. Aloha. The name of my talk is Olai Kiawa Kanaloa, Lives to the Realms of the Sea, and who is Kanaloa? So I was invited to speak about the Native Hawaiian cultural perspective of our ocean god and his many manifestations or bodily forms or kinaloa. First and foremost, Kanaloa is the god of the sea. But Kanaloa takes many forms, including that of whales, dolphins, all cetaceans, all things that are born of the sea but breathe air. Honu, turtles, hahalua, manta rays, hihimanu, stingrays, mano, sharks, whale sharks also, also he'e, octopus, and muhe'e, squid, and fish as well. So Kanaloa in all of these manifestations plays a role in maintaining the health and well-being and abundance of the ocean. So one of the things that I wanted to specifically talk about the importance of Kanaloa is not only what we as humans put in, but also what we are taking out. Some of the extractive activities include excessive take of our aquarium fish for aquarium trade, not on a small scale level like for home aquariums, but in the commercial level, the pet trade, which Hawaii is the second largest or third largest supplier. Our wild fish are the supplier of the aquarium trade. We also have longliners and shortliners, which are a huge extraction. They take out tons and tons of bycatch. Bycatch is just fish and animals that they're not going to use. We also have complications with sonar, military sonar, and other activities that either hurt or what NOAA calls take of marine mammals and other life forms in the sea. So, but also what goes into the ocean is the human footprint as well. Not only the extraction, but the human footprint. And this, and all of this behind me, is just a very small example of what we are unconsciously doing to our oceans. And so this would be also a call to become more conscious, to be that in your art form, in your social movement, your justice movements, and everywhere else. So one of the things that I wanted to talk a little bit about is the origin of the Hawaiian chant of creation, or our song of creation, because that is where these kinds of things are identified. Because what I want people to think about is the way we see the world or think of the world is the way we will treat the world. And this is important because the world is changing. And as it's changing, we must change too. We must change our thinking and our whole way of hopefully spiritually seeing the world around us. So we look to the chant of creation for a lot of things, but one of the things is to learn the order of things and how they gave all of Hawaii, or the world actually, in our worldview, is created and brought into existence. And why that's important also is because the whales and dolphins and cetaceans and Kanaloa bodily forms were formed very early on in that story of creation, and that's what gives them they're both divine and a part of the physical world. They also help to chant man into the world in the 8th epic period of the chant of creation. When man came into the world, man opened his eyes and light came into the world also. So that shows their importance in the order of life. Man is actually lower down in the order than they were. And they are part of the divine creation of the world. And then those before us become our elder siblings, or kupuna, or knowledge keepers, yeah? And so that is why Kanaloa, in all of his manifestations, is so important to our ability to help restore the abundance of the ocean. Because we don't only want to conserve it in the sense that we don't want to keep it at the status quo. We actually want to restore it, restore the life, restore the abundance, and restore the harmony between humanity and all ocean life and the ocean itself. The ocean is the one thing that connects all of humanity, regardless of where you come from, your economic status, who you are, and what color you are. It is the grand unifier. Similarly, like the mountain is the grand unifier for many people because it stands as a sentinel, just like the ocean. That's our mountain to our moana nui, our grand expanse of the ocean. So aloha aina, and when you hear people say aloha aina, what we mean is from the mountains to the ocean and to the great moana nui akea, which is the Oceania. Also, the ocean connects the peoples of Oceania, our brothers and sisters throughout the whole Pacific and the Pacific Rim. Right? Hawaii, we sit in the middle of that Pacific Rim. And so we play an important role in being, in some ways, a po'o of the he'e, and many Hawaiians will recognize that imagery because Hawaii stands as the po'o for the Polynesian Triangle. But the Moana Nui Akea, which is the great expanse, includes the whole Pacific. And the Pacific is the largest ocean, and it has 80% of our biodiversity, and also does the most to help affect climate change. Not the only, but some of the most. The sequestration of CO2 and so on and so forth. Oh, another extractive activity that is possibly coming to Hawaii is deep sea mining. Deep sea mining is going to challenge all kinds of people throughout the Pacific and the world because they're seeking lithium for. So while we do want to support solar energy, lithium mining and ocean mining will become a negative to that. So these are some of the things that Kai Palaoa works on, and Mauna Kea and Kia'i Kanaloa, our ocean rescue network for cetaceans that are often entangled in all of these things that we see here and die from it. This kind of, I don't know what you call it, it's damaging plastics and nets and all of these things become a serious threat to all of our Kanaloa in all of their forms as well. And it's just ruining our relationship with our ocean and all of its life. The kumulipo, let me get back to that for a moment. The kumulipo is structured like this. For every land animal that is created or plant, there is an equal ocean animal. So it's paired sort of with a Mauka and Makai relationship anyways. It's also paired in a gender relationship, male and female. That's a binary world that our kupunas thought to structure things. For example, a waterfall has male energy, where the pond where the waterfall goes is the female energy. So it's that kind of a relationship, not necessarily gender, but an energy relationship. So the kumulipo has 16 epic periods of time for which creation is unfolding. And I like to explain it to the young people that if we know what creation is, then we also know what decreation is. And decreation is a process that we as humans, as a part of that overall creation, cannot engage in, right? That's kind of coupled for us to participate in the decreation or the de-evolution and the extinction of the life forms that were a part of the creative process. And I know that I want to make a shout out because the kumulipo is more than a mythical story. It's a science, actually. And the reason why I'm saying that is indigenous knowledge is often described as mythical and emotional and all of these things. But in fact, much of what is codified in our traditional knowledge is science, meaning that it is repeatable and measurable. And so some of our navigators who have traversed the ocean, the world actually, on the World Honua trip, demonstrate a repeatable practice of the ancient practice of wayfinding and our deep ocean voyaging. And so that's one of the things we want to change our thinking on, is to change the idea that indigenous knowledge can also be a form of indigenous knowledge and science. 1,000 years, as Uncle Paka always used to say, 1,000 years of observation is better than a few experiments. So, but the way we need to be successful in the world today is to combine the two, to bring through that ocean wisdom and that historical knowledge and the best of modern science together for us to escape this kind of crisis that the planet is in. And I think that's mostly what I want to share, and to invite all of you to, as we say, elu umai, dive in with us and catch the wave, because we can restore our ocean abundance and restore and deal with this kind of thing happening. And it starts with everyday choices. Every day we can make choices that are better for the planet, but it also is the collective voice of all of us who want to stand up and actually work for a better and more abundant world. And keep abundance in your mind, because we don't want to just conserve. We want to go beyond conservation and climate change. We want to restore the abundance. So those things that are complicating or frustrating our ability to restore our ocean to its health and well-being and abundance those are the things that we need to work to change. And the way that change occurs is that we have to rise as people collectively. It's easier to do things when you have many hands than just one voice. And so these extractive practices that are going on, not only what's being put in, but what's being taken out, we need to change that, and we need all of you. And please come to this exhibit and have a look. When you see it in person, you can feel the magnitude. Imagine that in our oceans and our little Kanaloas and big Kanaloas struggling to get away from all of this. And remember, art is part of our change and our social movements everywhere. And thank you for your time. Aloha.